Hi, I'm Shahana Goswami and we're here for another episode of Crew Cut. Today with me, I have somebody who I happen to have worked with also, and it's somebody who is a very important part of the filmmaking process and very invisible part of the filmmaking process. Kapil Sharma, innumerable projects of all kinds from Telecrime to Kala, Big Girls Don't Cry, Mission Mars, Kalki 2898 AD. We're here with Kapil to discuss what exactly a chief AD does. Why don't you first tell us what exactly is a first AD, a chief AD?
As an assistant director, my job is to manage or to do optimum utilization of resources. It means if you have given an amount of resources, I have to figure which department to give more importance or prioritize each department as per each scene. It cannot be just every department can't be like, okay, this much money is needed. We don't have that much money. It's pre-decided what all things are needed. We are not leaving anything on the last minute, and those important things are there. Just making sure कर लेंगे attitude is not there. क्या करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, and make sure कि वो हो जाए. One of my mentors said, like as an AD or a director, our job is to mostly manage people. I don't do the light, I don't do camera, I'm not doing costume, none of the technical stuff. But what I'm doing is convincing you to do your job in the given time and the resources quickly and as per my liking.
It's a massive task that we don't get to see and talk about much. What made you want to join films? You know, what drew you in? And
this is very interesting. I was doing my postgrads in Xavier's. I was doing advertising and marketing. So one of the subjects was production. They gave us some amount of money, which was roughly about 1.5 lakhs, and some 50% of it cash and 50% when we make the ad, it will go to the DOP or the lighting vendors directly. We got that cash. My life changed and my group from local trains, we moved to taxis, from dhabas, we got to the restaurant. I was like, this is great. Like we got an award also for that. I was like, okay, I can make quality product. I can make a lot of money. Why not try this? So when I got out of the college, I applied to 3 production houses. One of them called me back. I don't know why.
Which one was it?
Equinox.
Oh, yeah.
So they called me. I think they needed an intern, and then I survived there and never looked back. I joined as Ram Madhani's DA, became second there only, and then life just moved on. From ads to film, I think I got lucky there. There was one Turkish film that was being shot in India. I think their second AD had to move on to some other project, and they immediately needed a second AD in like 3 days. So I was the only one available, and that's how I was introduced to films. I was just hopped on, and they told me it's just ads over 30 days. So it wasn't. It's really different. But yeah, I managed my way through that film because I was hardcore ad. Like everything is ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and films are very different. So it was a process, but I survived that film. And from that film, next happened.
Moved on to other things.
Kept happening.
Let's say specifically for you, what makes you take on a project?
Initially, it was just survival. So you just keep on taking the project. But sometimes you're not getting that much money also, but you're doing it for the film because you like the film. Like one of the films that we did together, Gali Kunyan. That was a low budget, not very heavy. But the project itself was beautiful, and that was my first project where I was like, okay, let's not look at the money. We'll look at the content and how we are making it. From there onwards, for a lot of time, I made sure I'm doing one project which is for the project, because I like the script, because we are doing it. And one I do for commercial because you need to survive.
Does it change the way you feel in the project? Is your level of satisfaction dependent on the creative aspect of the script, or is it more to do with the team and how it functions and your relationship with people?
Recently, it's become more about relationship with people. It's not about how the script is. Once you've taken on the project, it's your project. Then the dedication has to be there. But if the people are along with you giving their 100% because you are giving their 100%, the feeling is amazing. Like then you feel like you're on a set. Then everyone is working towards the project. It becomes really nice.
When you read a script, like how do you go about making that breakdown for yourself? You know, in terms of call sheets, the final, the
schedule. So first I just read the script, understand what the director wanted to say.
Yeah.
Now when I know the gist of what the scenes want to portray, now when I get into the second reading, where I'm marking actors, requirements, number of locations. After I've done this marking, the first step is taking the location. Go to location, each day of shoot.
Yeah.
That's the first layer. And you see how many days have come, because obviously usually they are too much. How can we club the locations so that the travel time between locations is the least? These are the first two, and then comes the actor date. So after this, if we realize we require the actor for 50 days and no budget, then a version becomes depending on the actor days. Then it's okay to travel in between,
Right.
but make it for the actor. At times you have to pick a call whether every day scene is important, actor time is important, lighting time is important, number of juniors are important. I can't call 400 juniors for 3 days because the actor is only available on those 3 separate days. So we have to take a call, sit down, how can we utilize only 1 day of the actor with 400 juniors?
Right.
So the first draft for location, the second draft for scenes and the actor, and then it's a continuous process. There's no final schedule. Till the last week of the shoot, you will keep changing it as per the requirements of daily updates of what is happening.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because there's also scripts are constantly work in progress.
Absolutely.
So, and they shift quite drastically. So there's a constant adjustment that I'm
Exactly.
sure.
There are outside factors which happen. One of the things, cyclone came, so we couldn't shoot outside. The things just change. So you start with version 1, and by the end of it, there's version 65 of the schedule. So you just have to be on point.
So now when you're talking about you creating the schedule and the plan, and what is your collaboration with the director like?
Understanding his vision. When I make the first draft of the schedule, I sit with the director and discuss each scene of how he's looking at it, because I have looked in a certain way.
Right.
Second, I really push and aim for that everyone does is write a short list of each scene. Now that's a very tedious job, which a lot of people don't want to. They want to sometimes just go on set and shoot the way it is.
Can you explain what a short list is?
Okay, each shot, each scene, how many shots will be there?
Yeah.
You are saying something, there'll be a wide, there'll be a mid, there'll be a close, there'll be a back shot, and there'll be a shot of a cut, because you're discussing this. So if they write all this down, like the whole process becomes so much more efficient. In a day, if I know I have to give 30 shots, I can give lighting that much more time.
Right.
I can give the actor to prepare that much more time. I can schedule equipment in a very resourceful way. So these things, if they happen during the prep, say 1 month before the shoot, that 1 month is every day just going in, giving everything to the film. Every penny is then just put in for the film. On the day of the shoot, time is everything.
Yeah.
The more you shoot, the better you get. Idea is to have less amount of thinking on the day of the shoot and more amount of doing for the shoot.
Essentially, you're kind of prioritizing the efficiency of the film
100%.
for everybody to
For everyone.
make it all come together. Now, the interesting part, of course, like an assistant director has a team. A chief AD will have a team under them. So, how do you go about picking and selecting your team?
It's very comfortable if I have the same set of ADs, because we know how we work. But that, I personally feel, that makes a small bubble, and then we are not stepping outside the bubble. So I pick 1 or 2, definitely my team, which goes from one project to the other because of that comfort zone. But for every project, I do want to pick someone new that I have to work with. I'm sure they have something new to put on the table, some new learning. Then it also changes with the script.
Right.
So, like for Kala, maybe not have that big a team, because it's mostly sets and the number of people which are there, not many. But for action hero, because it's huge setups, lot of action. So you need to have a bigger team. You need to pick up people who have done action.
Experience
or
of it.
probably that much action, because I know there will be multiple units. Someone has to handle that action unit. So pick your team accordingly.
Usually, on an average, how many people do you have? I know that would vary depending on the...
4 for sure.
4 for sure.
100%. 2 second ADs, one who is helping me on the set or is taking my job on the second unit. 1 person who's managing the base. I feel these are the ultra important jobs. If I need an actor in 10 minutes, he or she should be able to tell me either I will get it in 10 minutes or you're not going to get it in 10 minutes, and precisely you will not get them for, let's say, 20 minutes. They are not ready.
So you can plan something.
So I can plan things accordingly. So I feel these are the key aspects. Then someone handling art, VFX, location. Then from there onward, it becomes as per
requirement of
the scale of the film.
Sorry. So, like for example, in Kala, how many ADs worked in your team?
3.
In Kala, 3, and in Kalki?
Oh, Kalki, we were 8 ADs because there were, like, the VFX was so much. Like, there was a team dedicatedly handling VFX. After each scene, the VFX requirement will take about like half a day to finish everything. Like when we were shooting with Amitabh sir. So in Kalki, he's about 8 feet or something. So all his scenes, every shot has to be taken 3 times or 4 times. He's walking with Deepika ma'am. Shot of the steps, shot of Deepika ma'am, shot of Amitabh sir walking on a higher area. Then on Amitabh sir, there's a rod where we need to know how much his height will be in VFX.
Wow.
It was a lot complicated. So there were 8 people plus the action, the scale. It was like massive. I love action, so I thoroughly enjoyed it.
What kind of a crew? Like how many people on the crew would you have on a film like Kalki?
Like Kalki, every day there would be about 200, 250 people.
Oh wow, I would have thought more, but yeah.
On
8 of you manage these 200 people?
Yeah, like there's a production team to help us.
Right.
But 200 people.
Wow.
Even if like the war scene, if you get 100 people, to dress up 100 people in 2 hours, you need that many makeup people, that many costume people. And even the costumes were not easy. It's not a shirt. Everything has to be thought upon. So it was massive.
So now you were saying that, obviously the choice of your team, then the number of people varies from project to project. So like on a project like Kala, you said you had 3 people. And on Kalki, you had 8. What is the division like? What would, what is the role given, assigned to each person?
When we were shooting Kala, there were a lot of sets. So primarily for me, there was one person who was updated with art. So what sets, how many days will it take, what kind of things will happen on set. And for Kala, Anita ma'am was very particular about costumes also.
Right.
So one AD handling art, one AD handling costumes. With
and camera work, there was so much.
There's me also. I will also do something on that. There's camera work. So I sit with the camera team and we figure out. So the camera, I think I took it on my own. Kala was brilliant in this way. Like I've sat down for days with the camera team and we've discussed where we know we have X equipment for these many days and X kind of light for these many days. And we have to figure the schedule accordingly. So there was this one light which we will not get for more than 3 days. Now we need it for 3 scenes. Let's figure and plan out these 3 scenes can we do together. What are the complications?
Yeah.
Expensive light is what's expensive light, expensive filters. Boils down to money. So that way, these were the 3 categorically most important departments. And then one person to be handling the base. For action hero, this increased because there's one more person who has to dedicatedly handle action. There's action happening in India. There was action happening in UK.
Yeah.
And they both work very differently. Like the crew timings for there is different. Yeah. The sunrise, sunset timings are very different. Like in India, we can get on an average day 7 to 8 hours of shoot. In UK, we were shooting in winters. You barely get like 6 hours of light. Yeah. So there was one dedicated person for action who I'm coordinating with them. He's coordinating with the action team. Then one person to handle cast at times because there are days we have like some 30 actors on set.
Yeah.
So you increase the number there. Like, on the one we did, we were 2.
Yeah, there were only 2 people.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it was in Delhi in those small lanes. So 2 were
enough.
we managed.
Yeah. But what about in terms of like when you have second unit, for example? You want to explain?
Second unit is when we are simultaneously shooting scenes. So better I give you an example. If there's a car shot that we are taking, so say you and me, we are sitting and driving in a shot in a very crowded street. Now it's not a smart move to take us to a crowded street and shoot it there. So in a green screen, we will shoot the car, you and me. Simultaneously, there will be another unit who will go and shoot the plates of what to put behind the studio wall when we are shooting it. So that's second unit. In terms of when and how my team and we start, usually I start a month before my team joins in.
Right.
So first month, I'm there making the schedule, sitting with the director, DOP, locking the schedule. And then from the second month onwards, the team comes in. That's when I delegate their job of what their roles will be in the prep and what their roles will be while shooting the film.
And how much time do you ideally get for pre-production?
For any film, the prep time is very different. But I think these days for any film, it has become standard 3 months. Anything beyond that is a big explanation of why you need it and why you need the whole team for it.
Yeah.
It's like only just get one person and do it. So a lot of decisions are being made depending on what the money we have.
Money.
which is
Are you involved?
also-
Like, would you be involved in the budgeting part as well?
Not when the budgets are made, but once they are made, then yes, I'm involved where we are saying, okay, for locations, we only have this much amount of money and the kind of locations and the number of locations you, like the direction team wants, we cannot get it. So how can you club into it? So that's where I get into how much money is going where and for every department, in fact. So yes, not in the first initial stage, not involved in the money, but once the EP sits on each department allocation of budget, that's when sometimes I step in.
And do you ever end up actually maybe pointing out the other way around where the allocated amount is not appropriate enough and it needs
Oh,
to
yes,
be
yes,
up?
totally. In VGDC, when we were discussing some of the Founders Day scenes, now it's a big school. We need big crowd. The first instance was, hey, just get like 50 people and do crowd multiplication. Crowd multiplication just doesn't happen. You have to take plates. You have to put the camera, put 50 people in one position, then in the other, then in the
time,
It
actually.
takes more time.
Yeah.
Then an explanation, why do you need so many equipment there?
Yeah.
But to show a Founders Day, you need equipment. You need to show that scale. So yes, on that day, you have to give an explanation why you're not shooting 3, 4 or 5 pages, whereas you're spending so much money. So yes, it is important to get that much crowd. Yes, it is important to fight for that kind of equipment because the scene requires it. So that's the budgetary part where I come in.
Yeah.
Like-
The other thing is locations, like what we call location recce, which is usually when the whole team, the essential members, the HODs and
Yes.
the first AD and everybody goes together to find these locations. Now, what are the factors that come into play for locking a location?
So the process, we see pictures of locations. Now we've liked 10 places. The team, all the HODs of all the teams will go see those 10 places, mark out their priorities. Then we have to, even within HODs, prioritize who gets more importance. For instance, if you're shooting in a small room, but it is apt, say like a small cave we are shooting in, it's the perfect location visually.
Yeah.
But if you shoot there, the sound, there will be a lot of echo. So the sound, it doesn't work for the sound. Now it's a call between sound director and producer whether we have to look for something compromising a bit on the visuals and then having a middle path for sound and visuals, or giving importance to the visual, we'll dub this part later.
Correct.
So every location, yes from all the HODs has to be there. If there's no yes, then there's a compromise and they need to know. The sound needs to know. So yes from all the HODs becomes important.
And how long does it take on a tech recce? I believe they sometimes have multiple
Days. Sometimes it might take weeks. So the first recce is just, okay, we like the place. The second recce, which is probably like the tech recce, we decide the person will be sitting here. At 8 o'clock, sun will be here, light will be hitting. So at 8 o'clock, we will shoot this part of this scene. That's a tech recce. So we are spending days probably at one location. So that takes a lot of time, like a week or something.
One of the main questions that, people in the film world know about call sheet. You can actually explain what a call sheet is and how do you build a call sheet? What are your key considerations?
Call sheet, I will try to keep it very concise. Call sheet is a piece of document which says what all things are required on the set next day, who all have to be there on the set, at what time, what scene are we going to shoot first, when are we going to break for lunch, when are we going to break for dinner, what time the actor will come, what time will they get into makeup, what time will they get into costume, and what time will they come on set. So it's just manifestation of our plan on a piece of paper which goes to everyone so that all those 80, 100 or 200 people exactly know what is happening during the day.
Wow, very nicely said. Kya baat hai?
Thanks.
Yeah. So how do you go about making your call sheet, building that call sheet, and what are the kind of considerations that you...
It is a very detailed process. Sometimes, like internationally, there is a separate AD just to make
Yeah.
call sheets.
Yeah.
But here we don't have that. So the person who is making the call sheet has to be like ultra efficient, and they need some time. Usually call sheet takes 2 to 3 hours every day to be made. Each department, each requirement, somehow the director has thought of 3 additional classes. They've entered 3 additional classes, but the art team doesn't know. So it's not just about making the call sheet, but it's getting the call sheet approved from each department.
Correct.
Detailed things have to be there. A lot of times people just write like lighting as per the DOP. I think that's not how it should be done. Call sheet in films, it's a standalone, whereas it has to be with call sheet and something called DPR, which is a daily production report.
Right.
Now, call sheet is in advance. I'm calling you at 8 o'clock. I'm calling Jib at 9 o'clock. I'm calling X equipment at 10 o'clock. I plan to shoot with you at 9, but I rolled with you or shot with you at 11. Now, a daily production report will have all these things, which will say you called something at 9 o'clock, you used it at 11. Why the wastage of 2 hours? We could have called it at 10, utilize the time more efficiently. So these things go hand in hand, and when you see these 2 documents over a period of time of week, 10 days, then you see like an hour saved every day after 12 days is 12 hours, and after 24 days is a day. So proper call sheet, proper DPR, in about a month we might get an additional day to shoot.
Right.
So these looks like paperwork, but these are very critical aspects of filmmaking, which we should follow in every aspect.
How often do you manage to make the day? Making the day is finishing everything that's on the call sheet.
If we take every film, I think out of 50, there are 5 days which are not, at least 5 days which are not as per the call sheet. And whatever has been left has to be managed in the next 45 days. Hope is that those 5 days are not the starting 5 days, because then a snowball effect will happen and things will just keep happening. Idea of this is to just make sure you're making your day, at least for the first 10-12 days, where people are getting into the process of knowing what is happening each day of the film.
What is a typical day on set like?
Okay, the idea behind any typical day is make sure you start on time, you break the people on time, no matter what, you will finish on time.
Yeah.
So if you've planned that you will start shooting at 8 a.m., just make sure you started shooting at 8 a.m. Things will line up, the plan will fall in the place, because you've made the plan with the most sane mind when you were not with 10,000 things happening with you. Just make sure you're breaking people on time.
Please explain breaking.
Breaking for lunch. So we have to take care that people are eating on time.
Yes.
Personally, I think I was a very bad AD when I initially became a first AD, because I don't like to eat on sets. I'm always on my toes. Wired. So I'm like, everyone should be like this. Why do they need food? So I think initial days I've struggled with people complaining, and later I've realized, yes, food is important. If you start on time, make sure people are eating on time. Believe me, they are giving their 150% and making sure your day ends on time. Then after that, if you're requesting them for additional hour, no one has a problem.
Right.
If I'm not breaking them on time, nothing is happening for their comfort, or then I ask for 15 minutes extra, then like, hey, extra shift, wrap it up.
Yeah.
So manage people well, they will manage your shoot well.
So no, you were telling us, so you arrive on set,
Arrive on set in a day prior, you exactly know what the scene, or especially the shot you are starting with. So the second camera lands on set, you put the camera where the shot has to be taken. You make sure the lighting department knows what shot they have to be. From the minute light comes, they're starting to set that up. That setup, make sure actors are coming on time and there's no problem in their costume and makeup. So day before the shoot, the first costume is ready, should be ready. The first shot, whatever the first shot, the art requirements are ready. The cameraman, the light department, they know what the first shot is. Yes, things will just follow. The first starting mark is very, very important. People have come, they've just woken up. They are not super fast right now. They're just getting into the flow. So that is extremely important, that they exactly know what has to happen when has to happen. Starting on time and doing everything to make sure you start on time. Has the camera left? Is the camera arriving on time? Are people arriving on time? Is the breakfast ready? Every small detail like this is very important to start that first shot. I have to be wired to make sure the first thing has happened. That happens, things just automatically
smoothly.
smooth.
Now, so while we're filming, the one big thing that a first AD is responsible for is the reset between shots.
Yes.
So how do you, kind of optimize on this reset? Is that also part of something that goes into the planning on the day? What are the...
Yes, it does. Oh, wow, that was loud. Yes, it does. I'll tell you with an example of a story. So we have dedicated people to do the resets. There's a continuity person who is keeping a track of what thing was placed where. These people, the minute shot is cut, get on to them. They will help you telling this was done this was kept here, that was there. And they come in, 2 to 3 people at least. There's one person from the costume, at least 1 or 2 people from the art, and the continuity person who comes on board and says, this is how things were, reset them. Keeping this time minimum is the ideal, but there's no standard way of doing it. Every scene, every shot is different. So you prioritize or you just figure out a plan after doing it.
These are that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Even while we've been on set as a first AD, you are actually managing everybody's personalities and their hankering for priority or the prioritizing of all those people. How does one go about dealing with... Because it's not even just a department thing, it's also the human beings that are involved.
Exactly. There are a lot of egos at place and every department wants to do 100% for their department.
Yeah.
Art needs those things to be perfectly placed for each shot and sometimes I don't. One of the things in Kala which happened, the continuity supervisor said there was a death scene that we are shooting and we are shooting. The candles in the background have reduced to half. Now, if it'll take time to replace all the candles and light them, he is correct at saying that you need to give people time so that they can reset the candles. But I'm like, someone is dying, the actor is in tears. At times, people are not noticing that your half candle is gone.
Yeah.
So at times you have to prioritize. Sometimes you have to be stern about it. You have to understand their scenario and you have to put forward your scenario that I do get it. But at this point of time, her crying is more important because she is in that zone. She is crying right now.
Yeah.
And I can't let 3 people enter and suddenly change the candles.
Yeah.
So you have to prioritize crying. But sometimes when people are just laughing, chatting, but that times you have to stop the laughter, the chat because, hey, the candles are indeed wrong.
Yeah. You can write a book on human psychology.
If I could write, yes.
Why don't you now, Kapil, tell us about, before you do a scene, there's how do you coordinate with the blocking of the scene? What we call the choreography of the scene, which is coordinating the actors with the cameraman, with the vision of the director, the space that you're in and all of that. So I'm sure there are different ways in which it plays out. So how does that usually happen?
Say we did recce's, we did the tech recce where we decided this part is going to happen here. But then also on the day of the shoot, it's the actor who is performing.
Correct.
Sometimes he might feel like, no, I will, at this sentence, I will get up and go here. So you can't plan everything for the actor. So usually in the morning when the actors come, before they start getting ready, we go on the set with the director DOP and we play out the scene. So the actor knows I will walk here, probably at this line I will take a cup. So we need to place a cup there.
Correct.
So they envision or they decide that this is how the scene will be played. This is probably the best case scenario. But sometimes there are stars, you do not have time for that. So sometimes ADs and directors, we perform the scene. So director has in mind how the scene will be performed. Next day, you just tell the actors that you have to do this. This is because of the time constraint and we've lit up everything as per that. Shot 1, there's a tape mark there. They will walk from here to here and we will cut. Light is already placed. Switch on this light, switch on that line. You will walk from here to here.
Do they not come and say, "No, we will want to do it like this"?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes which changes my life. Which I'm like,
I've heard
very
of
good.
stories, huh? I've heard of stories of
Yeah.
very detailed set construction and big budget stuff. And a big
Even-
actor has come and said, I wanted the entire opposite direction.
We've done ads where camera will be here. We've set up lakhs and lakhs of money, and 2 days have been spent on putting a light because the actor will walk from left to right. The actor comes, I like my
That's
this
our profile, yeah.
and I will walk here. And I'm like, oh no, can someone convince? Then I'm pushing the director, convince her to walk like this. No, which means we stop, we change the light because I can't let the DOP do a shabby job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have to request him to do it fast because now we are spending time on what we didn't calculate for. So yeah, it goes south sometimes.
Okay. So, of course, we've spoken about HODs. HODs are head of department. So, there we have various people, art, costume, like we said. But besides that, within your production team, there are many people, again, people who end up being very invisible. How do you coordinate with like the executive producers, the line producers, the production managers
While shooting?
Yes.
Say there's everyone knows there's a walkie through which we are just pushed to talk kind of thing, which we are talking to everyone. It's just not my department which I have. Production plays a ultra important role in all this.
Yeah.
They are the ones keeping the backbone of the film straight. They're the first source of contact of what has gone wrong, how they can fix it.
Correct.
I remember during BGDC, it was a big discussion between the production team and us because we were shooting at places where we didn't have loos for anyone. We are shooting near a dam, near a hill, and there weren't loos, and the loos couldn't come to that location. So they are trying to figure this out for us, where if any women wants to go to the loo, how will they go? So we are making tents where portable loos we are trying to figure. This is very important. Suddenly something is needed. They are the ones who are going to get it. They're the backbone of the film.
Yeah.
And they don't get limelight at all.
Yeah, they don't get any recognition.
Yeah.
The other thing that this made me think of is also the fact that as a first AD, while you're on set, running the plan that is on paper, you are also actually taking calls on the days ahead while the day is happening for things that are anyway scheduled, but also things
the mess ups keep
that
happening.
Right? So that's like you have to have your mind.
Yes,
in so many
I think I'm still trying to work around it, how to prioritize or how to separate my mind where I can be on set, see how the scene is happening, and also back in my head I can figure out what things are happening. So what I usually do is start the scene, the first 2 shots have happened, now everyone is in the scene.
Sync.
Now the process is happening. That is probably the 3rd shot is when I will ask, okay, what is happening on the next scene? What are we doing? Are the things prepared? What is happening on the next day? So usually once the scene starts, everyone is in it, actors know, now we just have to switch cameras and keep shooting. That is the time when I'm thinking, so it's difficult.
No, but that's actually I never thought of it. That's a really smart way of prioritizing your being present when required, and then once it's in autopilot, you can still
that's when I can think of
switch off to the other aspects of the next day or the
easier
next
said, but
scene.
when it comes to it, like in my head, I'm scrambled egg. Just make a good face. Yeah, everything's in control. But
how much do you sleep on
during BGDC, 3 hours of sleep was
your average?
Average.
Oh my God.
There were days I'm talking to you. Next thing I remember is getting up because someone has just put me to bed.
Wow.
Sometimes this happens. It is like 5 hours of sleep before the shoot is like, oh my God, I feel like something is going wrong and things are not correct. One of the last films I shot, we were getting 5 hours or 6 hours of shoot. We were finishing everything on time because everything was planned like Kala, and it was beautiful. Like we were wrapping up 6 hours in advance. There were days I was anxious because this had never happened. I'm doing a good job, but it feels wrong. How can I wrap 6 hours? The producer is like, if you miss something, you're not utilizing it. I'm worried, but we got everything was being managed. So if everything is being managed, that's also a stress because everyone is sleeping, everyone is happy, everyone is doing their job. How can this happen? It was beautiful, but very scary because you're not used to it.
That can only be achieved
with proper planning, with clever, proper planning, getting everyone on the same page. I learned this on a film where our first AD Ananya, the legend, the legend lady, bro. I don't think there's a
My
better.
God, I know.
No offense to others, but I don't think there has been a
you're
better.
good.
Yeah. There was never. I think she's been the best first AD ever on camera.
Ananya Rani.
Ananya Rane, please. Yeah, best. But yeah, she used to keep these multiple meetings every week, alternate week, with everyone grouped together, and we will go through each scene. We will read out the scene, we will discuss the scene. So costume also knows the house is going to be colored pink, so I can accommodate my costume accordingly. It was insane. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And it is achievable.
And it was achievable.
Yeah.
So we.
And no one shouts on us.
Oh no.
Yes. No,
I have to say on camera, I was a very bad AD. I used to shout. I used to shout like nobody's business, thinking shouting will make things happen. Then someday I shouted at this intern and she started crying. And that day I realized nothing is worth this. I think that was my changing moment. And then the same director, when we were shooting that film, he told me the first AD's voice has to be the strongest, not the loudest.
Good.
These two things
Yes.
changed my life. And
Yes.
since then, shouting is not the key to make things happen. You have to value other people, their time, their effort. The second you do it, they just do your job. They'll understand your situation and they'll give in more.
Okay, now kind of veering from the similar topic that we discussed, managing people, all of this, but how do you keep a crew motivated?
Yes. So what I do, at least with my team, I know there's a lot of pressure, not just on my team, but on other teams also.
Absolutely.
I will sit with my team at the end of every day or every alternate day. I will sit with them, make sure none of the laptops are on. I don't drink, but I made sure they all are getting Bonvita.
Yeah.
I will sit and I will tell them to say things, say whatever is coming to their mind, let it all out.
Bonvita.
Bonvita, yeah, I love Bonvita. I was a Bonvita kid. So if I'm a Bonvita kid, you also have to be. So this became a stress point for them कि भाई Bonvita मत पिला, कुछ भी और कर ले, पर Bonvita. So yes, exactly this laughter, it has to be there. Sometimes I'm asking stupid questions to make others feel that they know things. I know the answers, but it is important for you to feel that I can also make mistakes. I'm just at the same level.
Yeah.
If I'm saying with
Make them
authority,
feel important.
make them feel important.
Yeah.
I make sure I'm chilling with the camera team also. There are times I have to go to them. I have to ask the problems they are facing and try and solve them. It's not light ajati. Nahi bhai, what is the gaffer going through every day?
Yes.
His team is not enough. Can I ask the EP to at least get 2 more lightmen so that his life is easier? If on 2 days I can get him 2 extra lightmen, oh, they'll do wonders for me.
Do you write fun stuff on like call sheets, like the
Yes,
quote of the
I
day
quote of the
or-
day. Like on films we do, and it is important for me to know who is reading. Sometimes someone like, Batman is not sleeping in the night, so you know someone has gone through the call sheet.
Correct.
So it's fun also. Sometimes you like stupid shit.
Yeah.
Make them laugh.
Yeah.
Because call sheet is like, oh, stress, I have to do this.
Do you plan crew get like parties and stuff in the middle of the
Sit
schedule?
with production,
Yeah.
plan it. Because
Yes.
that's also an additional
Yeah, of course
cost, but
it
that's a
is.
cost that should be going
Yeah.
in. So yes, we do. If not a big one, take a small one.
Yeah.
Keep going. I go to their rooms, chill.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're drinking. I go with them. I spend time with them, make them feel comfortable, and they'll do wonders.
Connect
for
to
you.
the human side.
Connect to the human side. Oh, one of the days. So Steadicam, like we discussed, is an equipment where you put the camera and someone is rigging that Steadicam on their body.
Yeah.
Throughout my life, Steadicam, come now, quickly take this. I'm just forcing them to take more. Sometimes you're taking 16-minute long shots, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I'm not giving them enough time in between resets. So if once you rest, to rest. Because I've never realized how difficult this is. On the last film, the Steadicam operator said, come. And he gave me the jacket and he gave me camera on top of it. I couldn't stand properly. That's the day I realized how difficult his job is.
Yeah.
So I can't ask him again, do rehearsal for me, hold this camera, walk 10 times. So I have to realize what he is going through. Since that day, our tuning has become so amazing.
Yeah.
I rehearse with actors, I call him once it's done, this is the changes you have to do, and boom.
Yeah.
Now he's also doing extra for me because he knows I'm respecting his work.
Yeah.
But this I didn't realize pehle. This I realized after like him doing this.
Yeah.
Till date, I'm learning things. But if you touch the human side, respect them, make them eat. Very important. Make them eat properly. Make them eat good food.
Yeah.
They will do wonders for you
Yeah.
on set.
So, what do you think what is an ideal set for you? What would be an ideal set?
What would be an ideal set? Would be everyone aware of what the plan of the day is.
Yeah.
While we all are shooting, sometimes I'm telling them this is the next thing that we do and set it up. Ideal set would be people know what is the next thing. So before me telling, they've already once X job is finished, they've started working on the Y job. Don't be just someone who will do the job. Like think a little bit more, think a little more ahead and be like, okay, we need to do this. Why can't, it's just about lighting. If it's lighting, this light needs to go there. The place is empty right now. I can just shift it because I need it in the next one. So this tiny effort from everyone, it will be breeze. It's like, it will be so smooth and a happy set that it will be amazing.
What is your favorite part of being on set?
Can't deny the authority you get. I do enjoy. It does come with responsibility, which is a scary part. When the plan comes together, kick is only like
the leadership.
The leadership. Makes me feel good about and when people are happy when they are going and they're happy, they say, okay, good job, we had a good day. Oh, that gives me immense pleasure.
So now, just in terms of once a film is done, what do you feel like, what are the ways in which one can expand one's skill set?
Revise what you've done. Now I know where I started in my planning and how I ended in my plan. Sometimes during the post-production, I want to go and see the edit. Usually, at least I've seen, you imagine something, you shoot something and something else comes out. The ideal scenario is what you imagined is what you shot is what is coming out. But now I've done the prep, I know what the schedule was and now I'm seeing how the result is coming. I try to take comparison of how I could have done this better.
But also I just want to know also psychologically, what kind of a toll does it take post a shoot? What is their recovery from a shoot like?
I'll tell you the recovery also. But before every shoot, sometimes physically I also prep for it.
Right.
For instance, action hero, I knew sleeping time will not be that much of a problem. But there's a lot of action, and we are shooting in cold, so stamina.
Yes.
I did started working out on my stamina before doing this. While doing BGDC, because I was dead. Mentally, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
After that, recovery was for about a week. I couldn't get up for a week. Sometimes, I think on BGDC, in 3 months, I lost 6 kgs or something.
My God, see?
Yeah, so you need a break. I personally need a week where I don't want to talk to anyone. Even with my family and my friends, I'm gone for 3 months. I'm not available.
Yeah.
I do realize it's not a great thing to do.
Yeah.
3 months and a week, 10 days. When they're calling, now they want to talk and meet, and I'm like, just let me sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is difficult, but I like the job.
What's the advice today that you feel you have for people who are starting out?
A lot of people who are starting out right now look at it as just another 9-to-5 job. Like people, I have met them and they come to me and like, okay, what time should I be coming and what time will I go home? If that is what you're looking at, I don't think this is the right place. You come when it is required and you leave when things look like they are done. Whenever you leave, things will not be
I love how you say look like
they are done, and then you come back when you're required again. Sorry to say, this is not a field where you can do a 9-to-5. Wish we could, but no, it's a creative process. It's not rocket science. We can't do 2 + 2 = 4. Sometimes your 2 + 2 has to be 6. You have to make it big. Yeah. So if it's very, very difficult to sustain, very difficult to do, but believe me, the kick personally I get out of what I do, I think it's all worth it.
So passion being the drive. You have to let your passion or that excitement.
Yes,
and that
passion being the drive.
Yeah.
Though my starting wasn't like the passion, But I think later in time I realized this is my passion and I love being on set.
Yeah.
There were days I'm worried कि मैं producer बन गया तो मेरे को set पे नहीं आना नहीं पड़ेगा जरूरत.
Yeah.
वो problem हो जाएगी.
Yeah.
So I still feel like कि ऐसा producer जो set पे आता हो, क्योंकि set पे नहीं गया तो
मजा
नहीं है, vibe नहीं.
Like our producers here on set.
Like everyone here was like,
Lovely, yeah.
yeah.
क्या बात है? Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you for
Kapil.
calling me.
What
Thank you for
lovely,
calling me. Like giving
this is
respect to
such a great.
people who are like just behind the scenes and never get acknowledged.
Yeah.
But like respect for doing this. Thank you so much.
And it's such a lovely way of getting an in-depth knowledge of how films are really made,
films.
and all the different aspects that go into it. I always say, film for me specifically is also, I love it because it's a team sport. You know, it's a
Yes.
team sport, but when you're making films, it's so disjointed, but you cannot do anything without the other person.
Without the other.
Constantly are reminded of how each person there is so critical and so essential, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And only we who are part of it know. People who watch will only see some
We'll see
highlighted
the
parts.
actors or the whatever comes on screen, they will see.
Yeah.
But there's a huge force which goes behind every film, and believe me, they are putting their day and night together to make that happen.
Yeah.
Just for our entertainment.
Yeah.
So like
This
that's
is a great quote, which is like, it's the modern equivalent building a cathedral.
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
very well said.
That's very well said. Very, very well said.
Damn.
Thank you.
Ujala, thank you so much.
Good.